Welcome back to another episode of Pen and Prosper, where JT Lawrence and I discuss all things publishing, writing, manifesting, mindset, and just books in general. Very nice to see you this
Nice
Friday
to see
morning.
you. I love seeing you on a Friday, Delport. How are things?
I know, it's good. Things are good.
Good.
Busy week, as you know. It's my daughter's matric dance tonight. I can't believe I'm old enough to have
I
children.
know, me neither.
And you and the brood?
Yeah, good. Everything's good. The kids on holiday, so it's very difficult to write my steamy romance when they're home.
Yes. When do they go back?
Not soon enough.
Okay. Okay, well, let's dive in because we both have a ton to do today. As we spoke about last week, our main theme for today is going to be overwhelm, which I
Yes.
think every writer, whether journalist, any industry, can understand that overwhelm. But authors, I think, feel it particularly
Mm,
because we do so much of our business
exactly.
ourselves.
And there's just never a finish line. A journalist, I'm sure, has very, very hectic deadlines and it's stressful, whatever. But when the story is filed, then
Yeah.
that's done, then they move on to the next story or whatever. But our list just never ever stops. There's always more to do.
For someone like you, who obviously now is very, very advanced in your career, I mean, you're very far ahead. And I know now you are able to outsource a little bit.
Yeah, thank God.
I'm pretty sure that you still have a million things to do in a day. So, how are you dealing with your day to day, just getting things done, not working until midnight? Because I think that that's a common problem for authors is that we end up working around the clock
Yeah.
and not setting aside the time for family and for balance. How are you kind of doing this whole balancing act? How are you juggling things?
It first it comes down to schedule for me because it's the same about being productive. It all comes down to schedule. So if you want a balanced life, you've got to build that into your schedule. So
Yes.
if you're going to have a balanced life as a writer, you're going to have writing hours in there, you're going to have marketing hours, you're going to have a nice long walk to think about your book, you're going to maybe go to gym, you're going to meditate. All that stuff has to be built into the schedule because no one ever feels like doing the hard things. No one ever feels like going to gym. I'd say that's my main hack. It's a system and it has to be built in.
Yes. Blocking out that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever done a time audit?
Yeah, I do
Uh,
it. I basically do it every day.
do you? Okay,
Yeah.
yes. When I do them, I often find that there are times where you don't even realize you pick up your phone and you start to doom scroll or you start to, and I'm like, no, if
Yeah.
I keep my working hours productive, then I can have my relaxing hours, without the stress of, I haven't done
Exactly.
enough. So
Exactly.
what I find happens, and I don't know if you have found a solution to this, is I find that if I'm writing productively, so that week I did the 10,000 words, and a
Mm.
spoiler alert, I didn't do it this week. I don't think I wrote one word this week.
Oh, I beat
But I
you.
did, oh yeah,
I got 1,000 words.
like it was a bad week. What I was doing was I was creating content for Substack notes and Instagram. And I find that this is what happens. If I write, my social media slips or my
Mm.
everything else slips. And if I focus on my marketing, my writing slips.
Absolutely.
And
There are just not enough hours in the day.
and it's so frustrating. And I also find that I'm an all or nothing kind of person. So I have recently, shame, I've got one person helping me, baby steps. She's just posting on my behalf. So I'm still creating the content, but she's posting because you can't pre-schedule on Substack yet, I don't
Oh,
think.
can't you?
No.
My fiction, my short story podcast? I can
Yeah.
schedule that. So I
But
won't.
now that's a post. So it's not notes. Their notes
Oh,
function.
the notes.
Stack Notes is on the rise quite massively,
Okay.
kind of like in the early days of Twitter. It is a platform that's growing quite significantly.
Yeah.
So I was doing notes for that. And then I listened to that podcast that you told me to listen to, the Diary of a CEO. And he was talking about how he was taking his tweets and screenshotting them and putting them on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'm going to do the same thing with the notes that I'm creating.
Oh, good, very good.
So I just chose two templates on Canva, two really nice, a black and a white, so it doesn't fight with anything on there. And I'm creating the content, but she's just making sure that it goes out at the
Okay,
right time.
brilliant. That's
I'm getting traction there, friends,
good.
on the notes.
I
I'm starting.
understood the notes.
So it's you think of it like microblogging. So I think it's comparable to Instagram threads or Twitter.
Okay.
Short, snappy, little catchphrase, very,
Yeah.
very comparable to Twitter in
But
the
but
early
who
days.
sees it? Only your subscribers.
No. Substack, which is amazing. So, like the likes that I get on my notes are not from people who are subscribed to me, if that
Okay.
makes sense. So
Okay.
the notes, it's more a public forum
All
than
right. So it really is like a little Twitter thing.
yeah. So I
Cool.
mean, and there's on the rise. Like if you Google it, and they're saying that it's gaining traction quite quickly. So I thought, you know what, I have never been in early on anything. I am always that author that finds out the tricks last.
Not with
So,
such stack chats. Well, that's good. That's very
yeah.
promising.
So that's what I was doing. But like I say, I struggle between the two, and I don't know how to find that happy medium between making sure I get enough writing done in the week and enough marketing.
Honestly, the struggle is real here. I feel exactly the same way. When I'm getting 2,500 words, things are going well, and I'm working according to schedule. I write 2,500 words a day. And
Okay.
if I do that,
I'm
everything else
sorry.
goes to shit.
Okay. So it takes you quite a while.
It does. I'm a slow writer, but like I drop every other ball. My kids'
Yes.
play dates and extramurals and everything
Yeah.
seems out of control when
Yeah.
I'm in my writing flow. There just doesn't seem to be enough mental bandwidth to be able to cope with anything else.
I think that writing draws a massive amount of mental stamina, like massive. I don't think anyone actually understands it because, like, I even get physically fatigued after a
Yeah,
long run.
absolutely.
And I've done nothing. I haven't taken that long walk or that, like, gone to the gym, but I feel exhausted.
Well, they say the
So,
brain burns more kilojoules than I don't know what the stat is, but the brain burns a huge amount of kilojoules because it works so hard.
my body did not get that many.
Yeah, why is this not working for us?
Speaking of overwhelm, don't you have a pre-order coming
Yes,
up?
yes.
Have you managed to extend that for a month?
Yes, well, I haven't actually extended it yet, but I'm totally I have to. There's no ways I'm going to finish the book by the end of the month, and then it gives me an extra month to finish it, which sounds
Okay.
like a long time, but I'm so far behind that I actually I have to write 2,000 words a day for the
Every
next
day.
8 weeks, 4 weeks or whatever. Otherwise, I'm going to miss that pre-order, and then it's all kinds of nonsense.
Yeah, they penalize you quite heavily, don't
Yeah,
they?
take away your privilege for a year.
Oh, yeah.
They'll cancel all the pre-orders. I think I've got 150 pre-orders, which isn't a lot for the romance authors I know. They get like thousands, but it's a lot for me. Like 150, I think it's probably more than I've ever had before.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And this is all on your Blair Butler, hey?
Book 6, yeah.
Are you then going to move back into urban fantasy?
Definitely. So I'm also gonna just press pause on Bad after this book 6 and then do some fantasy and then I'll go back to Bad. I think maybe I'll do like a year-long pre-order on book 7.
I mean, you've got plenty to be going on with.
Yeah. You know how I said like there's never a finish line with our jobs, which I really believe. That's why it's one of the reasons it's so stressful or overwhelming. But have you read Oliver Berkman's 4,000 days? Is it no, it can't be 4,000 days. Damn it. 4,000. For the people not watching, it's called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Berkman. He's a British guy, very cool sense of humor. So it seems like quite a dry thing to read, but it's not. He's very cool. He used to write about time management, and then he realized that solving time management doesn't solve the problem. The problem is that we're all going to die sooner
Yeah.
than we
And
think.
with the to-do list in
The
our
to-do list, yeah. So he's like, don't stress about the to-do list. Like, live your life. Obviously, you
yeah.
need to get yourself, you get your stuff done, and you meet your commitments. But don't think that there is a finish line because there is not. Yeah,
So I think also to celebrate the small wins with the overwhelm, like if you do get something done,
yeah,
um, every time one of my new hardbacks arrive, I'm like, oh, I did it. Like I did that. It's
yes.
a huge tick off the list, but it's also just a sense of celebrating that win.
Counting the small wins is so important. It
So
really
important.
is. Yeah,
Because otherwise you just get stuck in the cycle, don't you? Just like keep going, keep going, keep
absolutely.
going.
Yeah.
But also you still have to love what you do.
Like, I love the fact that it's a business. It's motivating, it's exciting. Like I really like it. So for me, writing is the less exciting part. I love writing, but I have to like really like, okay, Janita, it's time to write. Like it's hard. It's hard for
Okay.
me.
It's so funny how we're so different like that. JT loves this stuff and I absolutely hate it. And like, yes, I'm going to learn. I'm grabbing this opportunity with this podcast and I'm learning so much. And I'm like, but I've got to say, I don't love it. It's very daunting. I would rather be writing the words. Do you know
Yes,
what I mean?
yes. That's why I think that I'm like indie all the way because I love that. whereas you like a more hybrid approach.
I like the hybrid model for so many different reasons. Like I want to have eggs in lots of different baskets. Um, I also do like when I remember when I first signed with the publisher, it just gave me in those initial stages a little bit of clout.
Yeah.
So we did that circuit where you do the SABF and the Kingsmead Book Fair and everything. And I actually ended up on a panel with Lauren Bierkes. And I remember sitting there and thinking, I don't know how I'm here because this woman is there. And I was quite starstruck. And then I was a little bit disillusioned because, and I mean, it's her website, her rules. She did want to, she allowed us to do an interview. She kind of invited the authors that were on the panel with her to do an interview. And she was very clear in saying that she would only have published authors on her platform. That was just how she ran her, yeah, that is how she ran her career. And I get it. I suppose you do get indies out there that are cuck. So I suppose she uses the publishers as the gatekeepers to make sure
Mm,
that whoever she's featuring kind of must at least be able to string a sentence together.
mm,
So I did get it. Yeah, I get it, but I was also like, oh, that's quite tough.
mm.
This was like 10 years ago. So I suppose indies hadn't yet made their mark as strongly as they
Yeah,
have now.
it was still quite a taboo 10 years ago, I
And
remember.
there was a lot of I think at that stage, a lot of traditionally published authors looked down on indies and
Definitely.
there was quite a stigma, whereas now the playing field's leveled. I think like it's a lot of indies are making a lot more money than your
Yeah,
trad publishers.
yeah. So I was invited to speak at Franschhoek and at Kingsmead. And the Kingsmead talk went so well because everyone, like the Joburg people, just seemed different. They were like hungry for information. They wanted to know how to succeed. It was like a really energizing discussion. And I walked out of there feeling great. Franschhoek,
Yes.
I enjoyed the talks. But there was like this reticence whenever I spoke about anything to do with indie publishing. If I spoke about the book, it was fine. If I spoke about plot and craft, like absolutely fine. As soon as I mentioned indie publishing, I just saw people like just like turn off a little bit. Then they released the talks as podcasts or some kind of recording or something. And I'm like, oh, I'd like to listen to that because that was an interesting talk. And I listened back and they had cut out all the indie references.
No.
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. I was like, yeah,
Uh,
they didn't really want me there. They invited me, but they didn't really want me there.
They wanted you there, but they wanted you to stay in your box, JT.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And the whole reason they invited me is because of my success as
Yes.
an indie
You
publisher. So
do
like,
so well.
okay, whatever.
The hybrid approach, I just liked it, particularly in the beginning. I liked it because I kind of had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
When I say I would submit overseas. I would try and find an international agent. A few years ago, Rainfall got me quite far up the negotiation phase with Louise Fury, and I remember being super excited. Anyway, it didn't happen. It had already been published, and there were a few things. But I remember thinking, oh, I'd really like a US agent. Like that would be like to have a
Yeah.
US agent.
No, that would be
Really
so cool.
would be so cool. So I thought, oh, maybe I should repitch. Anyway, as it turns out, she's closed for submissions now, but because I did look the other day. Locally, I would really like to work with like a Penguin Random House, but on like a kids. So I have a kids
Okay.
series that I wrote that I've always just kept in like a back drawer. So I think it depends on the work on the book where I would want it placed in a way. Because like I don't think indie publishers are very good at selling children's books.
No, I don't think they are either. I think some indie publishers have done very well, but I think it's the exception.
So
And I
lucky that
think
I
it's
wouldn't.
because you need paperbacks, and we struggle with paperback distribution. We've got print on
Yeah.
demand, which is the most amazing technology, but our kids' books are not sitting on the shelves in bookstores. And that's where
No.
you go looking for a book for your child, right?
So again, we've deviated very far from the overwhelm.
What were we
As
talking about again?
to my mind, I think that the sooner you can outsource, right, is the best. Outsource the things you don't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been desperate to outsource the jobs that I didn't want to do, but you know, Delport, it comes with a hefty price tag, and I don't just mean the money. Um, I've really worked with people that I realized this is just wasting my money, and I've had to like let them go. And
Yeah.
it's really hard to find someone who's gonna give you a good return. So yes,
Yes.
you might be able to not have to do like, let's say I hired someone to do my Instagram. so great. I don't have to do my own Instagram. That is saving me a little bit of time, but the amount of money you pay that person is not does not correlate with the value they're adding to the business.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's wonderful. Like if we're making thousands and thousands, then great. Then have people do things for you and don't worry about the return. But at my level, I absolutely have to think about the return. And that's what makes outsourcing difficult.
So, in a perfect world, I've said to my husband, like, if I could have anything, it would be a desk over there with someone sitting there.
Mm,
You're paying someone a salary to be whatever you need them to be. So, that's my manifesting is hard for an assistant. Hey, that's like the first thing
yeah.
that I have on my wish list is
Okay. Okay, let's
someone.
manifest that for you.
If anyone out there is prepared to work for peanuts, I'm your
Yeah. We pay in peanuts. Who's interested? I've just had a thought. We're talking about hybrid versus indie,
yes.
blah, blah, blah. Bookouture are brilliant.
What's Booker?
So they started as a very small indie press, just focusing
Okay.
on ebooks
Okay.
and just focusing on thrillers. And they just started doing so well. They basically offer people like you who don't want to do the publishing thing. They want to just sit and write and hand everything over. But it's not a traditional press, and you don't get all the nonsense that comes with being with a traditional press. So
Okay.
you get much better royalty rates than traditional. You get more say, I think, in your cover and that kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's the feeling I get. And they just know what they're doing. They've published thousands of books now. When I first heard of them was years and years ago, and they were small and just doing thrillers, and they were doing so well. And they've just grown from strength to strength. And I think it'll be a very good fit for you.
Oh, nice. Oh, I'll definitely have a look. Because here's the thing as well, is like I think like you were talking earlier about dying. I mean, what a macabre episode, but let's talk about that. I think I also want to have some sort of,
Legacy.
well, I've got one guy.
Yay!
No, no. Uh, like if something happens to me, I would like money to keep coming in, that my business doesn't just come to a grinding halt. Like I don't know how it works with Amazon. Um, I think you creating an LLC, aren't you?
I have a limited company now.
Okay, yeah. So it's got longevity if something happens to you, so that your family keep receiving funds,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You don't want that to all just come to a grinding halt. Because I don't quite know how all that works, but I just think, yeah, if I have like a diverse network of things like that, it should, well, I would hope,
yeah.
keep
Rather
running.
than it all being in one basket and then
One basket.
difficult to manage that basket when you're gone. Yeah.
I think that brings us to the end. We are going to be moving to our bonus episode where we will be discussing free books. That's perma-free versus Kindle countdown deals, how you can use free books to increase sales and drive people towards your books, especially in the case of a series. So shall we move along there for the people that want to watch the bonus episode? Wrap this one up.
Let's do that, Delport.
So next week, I know that you have started putting your books into translations.
Yes, very exciting.
Um, you have already translated a few. One, two, three. How
So,
many?
I had a reader, a German reader, who started reading my books, and then he offered to translate for me. So that was very kind. So he
Amazing.
started on Sticky Fingers years ago. Actually started with When Tomorrow Calls, and he did
Okay.
those three. Then he did all the Sticky Fingers,
Okay.
and now he's doing Blood Magic. So
Oh,
those were my
wow.
translations before, yeah. So he's such a wonderful guy. I mean, who does that? It's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Sure.
Um, but yeah, so I have some German titles. We're going to do the rest of the urban fantasy in German, and then we're doing Italian and French,
Okay.
and we're using Shadow Scribe for that. And those will be up at the end of next week. So it'll be good to chat about that then.
Yes, we'll get an idea of how those are doing. I'd
Yeah.
really like to follow that trajectory, like how it goes
Yeah.
in terms of sales and marketing
And I'll
and
do some numbers to tell you exactly like what it costs and all of that. So that,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, please do.
awesome.
Okay, fabulous. Right. So we will do next week, we will be discussing translations, why you chose the languages you did, how much money
Yes.
you think you can make, how you drive sales. I think it's going to be fun. Well, I will see you in the bonus episode. And to everyone else, have a wonderful
Happy
weekend.
Friday. Bye.
Friday. Bye.